Good morning, everyone. Mega love shout out. Happy Tuesday. So we have another quick live. Unlike the previous live na napakahaba ng ating mga live. So this time, medyo maiksik-sik ating mga live. Ayan, mega love shout out. Good morning, good morning. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. So, dito ulit tayo sa ating live. Dito ulit tayo. Handa ko lang yung aking mga katambay. Ali Turkey, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, Ali Turkey. How are you? How are you, Ali? A long time. You already monetize your channel, Ali? This time we have a very nice live because now we are having this learning about the social media strategist career. So it's all about marketing on social media. So I finished yesterday morning from here. Topic A demo, socialmedia.org, utilizing content. Now we have here the Creative Commons. A good love shout out to you, Ali, and good morning. Happy Tuesday to you. So we have here the Course 5, Topic B, Demo 1, Creative Commons. Now we're gonna on the video. This is 2 minutes only video. And our signal is going like crazy.
I want to demonstrate how Creative Commons works. So I'm taking you to the internet.
Our topic this time is about the wide area networks. Now there is a demo and explanation. It's all about social media. Thank you. I visit your video, okay? I just stop my rounding. I will visit your kanisi. This new video 8 days ago, Elsen Pro.
Bringing up my browser, and I've already gone to creativecommons.org. You can see that if you are a person who's wanting to license your work, you could go up here to licenses and get information on actually licensing something that you have rights to. But I'm going to scroll down to this Explore area and notice that I have the capacity to find Creative Commons licensed works Again, these are free, so I'll click on that button. And let's pretend that I'm writing, for commercial purposes, a blog about butterflies. And I want to find an image of butterflies that I can modify a little bit. Maybe I want to have a certain color scheme on the butterflies. So I want it for commercial work. I want to be able to modify it. I'm checking both of those boxes, and I'm going to type in butterflies. And because I'm looking for images, I'm going
Oh, I have a bad signal. I off my Wi-Fi. I use the data.
I'm now going to take you to the internet.
Now we're continue the Creative Commons. Common. It's already only 2 minutes this one. Yeah.
I showed you an example of purchasing a license to be able to utilize some intellectual property. But what if you don't want to purchase a licensed work? There is an organization called Creative Commons. It's a nonprofit organization, and it has come about to support the content creation community. Basically, there are some folks who have created content that they don't mind being utilized by other people under certain conditions. So they want to protect their materials, but they also want to extend some rights to other people without charging. So this organization manages that process. They facilitate the free and easy to use copyright licenses that provide a public way to share and yet use protected content. So what happens is the owner of content decides what kind of copyright coverage they want, and they essentially license their work with Creative Commons. And they
Hello, buds. Mega love shout out. Good morning, buds. How are you, buds? Salamat, buds, ha. Salamat sa dalaw. So, we're here on another topic. Dito tayo sa Creative Commons. Marami tayong matutunan dito. Ito ay all about social media. Ayan, strategy courses. So, madami tong lesson. Nasa lesson 5 na ako.
indicate what type of use they will allow for their copyrighted material. For instance, they can require what is called attribution. In other words, you can utilize my material if you will attribute it to me whenever you use it. So I could use that picture of Elvis as long as I say who took the photograph. They can also specify how they want the work to be used. For instance, they can say, I'll allow you to use my content exactly as it is, or they can say, I'll allow you to use my content as it is, or modify it a little bit to make it your own. They also have the capacity to say under what circumstances the content can be used. So for instance, they could say, I want you to only use this for non-commercial endeavors. You can't make money off of my content. So Creative Commons is an actual organization. It's not part of the government. and it allows users to register their content and assign a license coverage according to these 3 different identifications. Now, what that means is you, as a user of content, can go to their site and you can actually search for something that you're looking for. Now, I want to show you what the visual license agreements look like. There are some visuals that you will see next to content that are Creative Commons specific that indicate what type of license is associated with the content. So for instance, if you just see a little circle with a person inside of it, that means that this is a license to use this work as long as you will always attribute it to the original owner. And I have given you a list of all of the different licenses from Creative Commons. I'm not going to go through each one, but some of them are very, very narrow in scope, and some of them allow free reign. And these are all free. You're not paying either to license in Creative Commons or to use the content that has been licensed through Creative Commons. This is a nonprofit organization. Another legal issue that you need to be aware of is called brand abuse. We already defined our brand as our identity earlier in the course, but what we're referring to here is the abuse of our brand. If I'm a company and I've already established my brand with an audience and they trust me, what happens is other people who are trying to be deceptive can do things to take advantage of the hard work that we have done to create goodwill for our brand. An example would be brand jacking, where somebody specifically and deceptively hijacks our brand in order to sell their own products. An example might be somebody who manufactures a new cracker and they create a logo to go on the box of crackers that looks deceptively like Nabisco's logo. And Nabisco already has a reputation for their great crackers, and so this person is just trying to piggyback on that success and sell more of their crackers. So that is an example of brand jacking. And that's actually illegal. However, it's very difficult to find those occurrences. They could be happening anywhere around the world, and you have to be monitoring all social media for occurrences of brand jacking. An example that happened back in 2014 was with the Heinz company, Heinz Ketchup. The Heinz company was brand jacked by a Twitter user in the UK who was pretending to be an employee of Heinz and was beginning to write tweets about the Heinz products, pretending to be a representative of the company, and he was gaining quite a following. The problem was he was not a Heinz employee, and he was not authorized to be making the statements about the product and the brand that he was making. So that was a prime example inside of social media of brand jacking, somebody who gained a following by hijacking a brand's popularity. Another example of brand abuse would be cyber squatting, and this is the practice of basically abusing trademarks, but within the domain name system. Now, the domain name system is the system where people buy domain names or URLs for their company. So, for instance, Heinz might own Heinz.com. Well, the problem is that there are a lot of extensions to domain names. There are .org extensions, and now there are some really interesting extensions, for instance, .clothing. And so somebody recently purchased Adidas.clothing, and they were not part of the Adidas organization. So basically what they were doing was sitting on that domain name. They grabbed it while it was available, and they're hoping that Adidas is going to pay them a large sum of money to get control of that name. So it's called cyber squatting. They're basically squatting on a name, holding it, ransom essentially, for money. Okay, and this is also used in variations called typo squatting, where somebody will take the name of a company and just change one letter perhaps. For instance, Coca-Cola, They might purchase Coca, C-O-K-A, instead of C-O-C-A. So just a little typo, but it sounds the same, and they might buy that name and do things with it, hoping to get popularity for their site based on people accidentally misspelling the word or search engines indexing that site with the popularity level of a regular Coca-Cola site. So these are examples of brand abuse that you need to be monitoring for your own brand across all social media platforms. If you recall, when we were discussing potential barriers to adapting social media in an organization, one of those barriers was a fear that proprietary information or trade secrets might get leaked via social media. And that's a valid concern. We want to define specifically trade secrets. That's a legal term for any information that is essential to the core business practices of an organization. So an example might be a secret recipe or the way a manufacturing process occurs. It could also be inside information about the way finances are handled. And so these trade secrets are supposed to be protected by an organization. And in fact, the law is very clear that trade secrets are predicated on the organization taking reasonable measures to keep those secrets. So what would happen if someone on the organization's social media team posted something related to a trade secret, the company can no longer argue that they were taking reasonable precautions, and they lose some of their protection under the law. And so this is why your social media policy needs to very specifically address trade secrets and how the law operates so that your employees understand what they should be doing and shouldn't be doing. Keep in mind, too, that once information appears on social media, it tends to move very quickly. It gets propagated quickly, it gets shared quickly, and once it's on the internet, it really can't be retracted because it gets put so many places. It's essentially there for eternity. Let's talk about some of the things that should not be released that would be considered proprietary information. Examples would be anything that would be an inside scoop on a company. An employee might write a blog and they're actually providing some insider information. That would be a no-no. Releasing things like customer lists or customer profile information would not just be a violation of potential trade secrets, but also of consumer privacy. And the other thing that relates to that is financial insights. The SEC violations that would stem from providing financial insights could be massive. You should not divulge results of research data or share any information about existing business deals or pending business deals. If there's going to be a partnership between your company and another company, that information should be held as proprietary information. As I mentioned earlier, some organizations manage this very tightly by creating a position called a release manager. And essentially, this person acts as a gateway for all content out on social media. They monitor all content and essentially edit all content to make sure that nothing proprietary is included. You could have someone in that position, or you could simply train the entire social media team on these legal issues, or you could do both. But the bottom line is you need to do something in your social media policy to protect your proprietary information and to mitigate risks if something were to happen to be leaked. As part of your social media policy, you need to think about creating a privacy policy as well. The privacy policy enforces consistently how you handle private information gleaned not only about your own employees, but about your consumers, your customers. This could include how they utilize your website, their address information, their credit card information, their buying information, their history, anything that would be considered private information. There are no specific laws or regulations that govern how social media sites have to safeguard their data, but it becomes a real public relations nightmare if that privacy data is leaked in some way. So let me give you some examples. Let's say that your website utilizes a tracking cookie of some sort, where you keep track of your consumers' movement on the site and certain actions that are taken. What do you do with that information? And do you disclose what you're going to do with that information? How do you collect data, and what are your policies regarding that data? Consumers typically don't mind sharing data as long as they understand how it's going to be used. They also want to know if you're going to share that information with third parties. So you might collect data from me, and I'm fine giving it to you, but I don't want you giving it to someone else. And you doing that needs to be something that you disclose to me. Now, anything related to children is covered very specifically in the Children's Online Privacy Protection Act. So that is a piece of legislation that you might want to become familiar with if you're working with children in any way. And then we have mobile data. This is an area that is only coming into play recently with the proliferation of mobile devices. For instance, using a mobile device, you can track my location, my physical location. So the other day when I was in the mall, I was walking past a Foot Locker, and instead of going into the store, I passed the store, and I wasn't even 10 feet away when I received a text on my phone with a Foot Locker coupon encouraging me to turn around and go back into that store. So they obviously knew my location, and they were sending me a text based on that information. Now, I may or may not feel positive about that, but that is information they have about me, and they're utilizing it for marketing purposes. The bottom line is that you're going to do yourself a favor by having a very clear privacy policy that is enforced consistently, and training all of your social media team members on that policy so that they know how things are supposed to work. Our final topic in this lesson is on defamation. Defamation is generally defined as a false published statement that injures the reputation of a person or a business. And there are two main types of defamation. If it's written, we call it libel. If it's verbal, we call it slander. And since in the social media world most things are in writing or posted, the defamatory content would be called libel. Now, when you think about it, there's two directions from which this could occur. One of your own employees or social media team members could post something injurious on social media, or one of your consumers or audience members could actually post something injurious on social media. And you have to be prepared to handle both situations. What happens when the defamed party finds out that this has been posted, regardless of which direction, they're going to want to address this legally, and they have the ability legally to sue the party that made the comments about them. Luckily, in social media, posters are held accountable for what they say, not the owner of the platform. So, for instance, if somebody outside of your organization posts something that is libelous, you are not held responsible for that. However, you might be held responsible for taking the content down and not continuing to, allow it to propagate. If someone chooses to litigate, they can obtain a court order and have the provider of the social media platform required to reveal the identity of who posted the libelous information. Even if it's an anonymous poster, IP addresses can be tracked, and there are things we can do to find out who posted the material, although it can be difficult sometimes. And so, as part of your social media policy, you need to have a clearly visible proper use policy that states what's acceptable and what is not. And you need to have a way to monitor any activity that is posted by your own people, but also a way of monitoring comments and enforcing this policy to external folks as well. Now, if this happens, your policy also needs to address the response. And so, yes, we're going to have rules in place to try to mitigate it even happening. But if it does happen, how are we going to respond to it? Are we going to quickly take that content down? Are we going to have swift actions taken against an employee? Are we going to assist law enforcement if they're going to go after somebody who is external to our network and post something libelous? All those things need to be a part of your social media policy. This has been a long lesson, and there is a lot to know. Keep in mind that you have those checklists provided by socialmedia.org, and there are many great articles and resources on the internet about the laws that govern social media. So this is a very critical part of becoming a well-versed social media strategist.
Boost Jobs, mega love shout out, Boost Jobs. Good morning. Next. Oh my God. Uminit ang ating cellphone. Habang nakikinig ako, naka-idlip ako. Road to ano na yung second channel mo? Road to forever na ba yan? So we're here on the demo. Demo on. Demo 1 on the tabby about Creative Commons.
I want to demonstrate how Creative Commons works. So I'm taking you to the internet, bringing up my browser, and I've already gone to creativecommons.org. You can see that if you are a person who's wanting to license your work, you could go up here to licenses and get information on actually licensing something that you have rights to. But I'm going to scroll down to this Explore area and notice that I have the capacity to find Creative Commons licensed works, and these are free. So I'll click on that button, and let's pretend that I'm writing for commercial purposes a blog about butterflies, and I want to find an image of butterflies that I can modify a little bit. Maybe I want to have a certain color scheme on the butterflies. So I want it for commercial work. I want to be able to modify it. I'm checking both of those boxes, and I'm going to type in butterflies. And because I'm looking at images, I'm going to go down here and select Flickr as the search criteria. And what it does is it goes over to Flickr's website, and it does a search of butterflies that have a Creative Commons commercial use, modifications allowed license, and it shows me those results. So I know that I can take this image by John Fowler and legally incorporate it into my blog post about butterflies. I can even bring it into Photoshop and maybe change the color of the butterfly or add something around the image and still be within my legal rights. Now, in terms of your social media policy, what you need to include in that policy is not just what people aren't allowed to do, but you've got to empower your employees who are creating your social media content. You can't just leave them with their hands tied. If they know that they're not allowed to use content legally, what are their options? So include in the social media policy some empowerment. give them some mechanisms that they can use. So perhaps you've got part of the social media policy that says, for our organization, if we need imagery, we have an account with iStock Photos to purchase, or you are allowed to go to Creative Commons and seek images that are free under Creative Commons licensing. And that will empower your employees to be able to create nice, effective, quality content without worrying about legalities.
So next,
I want to demonstrate how Creative Commons works. So
dito na tayo sa quiz. What official regulation of the Federal Trade Commission dictates that endorsements must be truthful and not misleading? Full disclosure endorsement law, truth in advertising, online testimonial policy. Ayun lang, hindi tayo nag-aaral. Manghuhula tayo ngayon. Okay, the answer is truth in advertising. So, ayan, tayo ay mali. Next, which of the following is not the legal protection for the inventor or creator of intellectual property? Yun, nakatama rin. True or false? The practice of abusing trademarks within the domain name system is called brand jacking. Okay. Patay, mali tayo. A blank is a formal written document that clearly outlines best practices for all aspects of social media engagement within the organization. Blank is a formal written document that clearly outlines best practices for all aspects. Ayan, all of the above. Social media policy. Ayan, social media policy. Which of the following is generally defined as false? Published statement that is injurious to the reputation of the person or business. Defamation. False. Trade secret. Defamation. Defamation is what? Ayan, sorry, failed. Kasi hindi tayo aral. Charot. We will retry, okay? Tama yata. Dapat ma-perfect na natin to. Ayan, congratulations na. Boost Job, maraming salamat Boost Jobs. Ali, thank you so much. Buds, thank you so much, Buds. Life in SA, thank you so much, Life. Sino pang nandyan ang ating mga bisita? Maraming salamat sa ating 5 million in the house. Maraming salamat sa inyong patamsak. Boss Job, thank you so much, Boss Job. Ayan, next topic na tayo. Integrating marketing strategies. Ayan. Hindi ko alam, 50%, 50%. Hindi ko alam. Dito na tayo sa integration. Ayan, marami tayong topic na diniscuss. Actually, this is my third day live stream all about the social media strategy. Yan, thank you so much sa ating 5 million in the house. Marami tayong matutunan dito. So, yung mga latest live stream ko is this course all about. Kung kayo ay nagbabalak na, if you are planning to make your social media account a business, or you want to start a business using your social media account, same like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or of course in YouTube, then this course is for you. Just watch all my learning live stream, and you will learn a lot from that a live stream. It's all about social media strategy. So I was starting from the first topic, the rise of social media, since this time everything is online. You can get everything online. So if you have a good talent, you have a good hobby or a product to market, then this course will be very good for you. You will learn a lot. That second day live, I have here the conducting market analysis, auditing social media, setting goals, and selecting platforms. Then today we have the wide area networks. I just finished the last few demo topic on that area. Then now we have here integrating market strategies. Okay. So pwede na natin siyang start. Sana ba? Integrate